All right. I know I have a few pre-submitted questions. And I don't know who else is coming on with us today. So we'll see. It might just be me and you. All right. So I've got me pinned. I am recording. I'm just talking out loud so I remember everything that happens. And oh, good. You muted yourself. Excellent. So I'm going to start us all off, and I may have to open my eyes if anybody needs me to admit them in. We'll see. I'm going to start us off with messages from the forest and getting us all grounded in. And we're making mental space for, there's a handful of people who they're not here with us physically, but they're watching the replay. So we're here with you across space and time. That's the amazing thing about technology. Oh, okay. That's where the trees want me to go first. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So where we're going first is noticing how we think time is linear and that things happen and you're in a certain place at a certain time. And logistically, that is true. I told you when this would begin. Mickey and I are both here because we knew what time it was and we knew what the place was. So it's like, it is real that there is time and space. And human consciousness got to the point where with internet and video and other things, we can play around with having experienced the same experience as someone else at a different time, or tapping into, as I said, there's people who are going to watch this replay. It's as if they're with us here now, even though technically they're not with us here, logistically, what our logical minds can see. And so, I'm getting the chills and the exciting wiggles. So what then we're invited to do is you're invited to open up your awareness to think, where are the ways and the spaces and the places that you can feel connected to, feel access to, that in your immediate time and place right now, it may not look like you have access to that. If you told your best friend or your partner or your neighbor, oh yeah, I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking of a car. It's like, yeah, I've got this great car, and they're looking at your car that's a clunker and they're like, yeah, dream on, like you're in a dream world. But internally you feel like you know what it feels like to sit in that car that's got the seat warmers and the Sirius radio with your favorite presets queued up and all of that. And so even if it's not your literal reality, because you've got a car with a dent in the bumper like I do, I also have the experience of, I know how delightful it feels to be in a car on a cold winter morning with a seat warmer. And in your imagination, your powers of visualization allow you to experience the things you love, the things you desire, and it allows you to this exactly. It allows you to, you visualize it. Let's say you visualize it for 10 seconds today, and tomorrow for 10 seconds. And the next day you visualize it 3 times for 15 seconds. And every time it starts to take more time that you're spending time visualizing it and believing it and feeling it. And what happens then, and brain research can support this, and manifesting and spiritual ideas can support this, of your brain starts looking for the patterns that it's seeing when you're visualizing it in your imagination. And so you could think of it as you're speeding up the time till you have the things by creating more neural connections of you having more access to this thing that you desire. All right, I'm going to see what else. Okay. And one of the reasons that trees are so good at what they do is in their root systems, they're interconnected. And some, I think, do this more than others, like certain. So if a tree is the same species as another tree, it's kind of like, oh, they already know each other super well because they're the same species. They, in their root zone, they trade things. And this is at a biological level. I learned this when I was studying soil science. It's like there's trading happening going on of, oh, I've got extra sugars. Oh, you've got extra of those minerals. Okay, let's swap. The trees have this interconnected root system that allows them to have more resources. And in your mind, when you're visualizing something, it's as if you're making these new neural connections with the resources that you want and finding the way in which your imagination can connect to it. So that then when you're not visualizing it and you're going about your day, oh, you see the connection when it comes up in your waking life and your day-to-day life. And if you've seen pictures of your neural networking, your neural synapses and all that, some of it does look like tree branches and these or these organic rootsy kind of connections here. Okay, so moving forward, oh, good, great timing. Because I was just going to say, when there are more people and more people are coming in, hi, Ashley. When more people are coming, one of the reasons I wanted to create this, and this is going to ongoing be a monthly connection time, is both me sharing what I'm seeing and interacting with and being supportive, and you may meet someone here who you connect with in the chat or they share their experience and you think, oh, I got to connect with that person. Because in community, in collaboration, when these new networks are connecting and forming, there can be more richness happening. And we all know stories about things like stone soup. If it's like, oh, everybody thinks they don't have enough. Oh, I only have celery. Oh, I only have potatoes. Oh, I've only got basil. But then you bring all these people together, you make the soup, and you've got a really great soup. So none of us, whether we're talking humans or trees, none of us were meant to do this alone. And it is scary to trust others sometimes, or to be vulnerable and to collaborate. So, and I'm addressing this now because I know one of the pre-submitted questions I looked at. It's possible that this message I'm sharing with you now may differ from a message that's going to come up with for someone later, and that's okay. One of the things that you get to do is you get to listen and discern what's your takeaway for today. What do you want to use? What do you want to tap into that feels most pressing today? Because some of the tricky things about figuring out what to do in life is the answer that works for you today is not the same answer that worked 5 years ago, or it might be a different one than will work 2 months from now. So it's learning to trust within, this is the one that feels right. And sometimes what feels right, you're nervous about, and that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna see if there's anything else I'm supposed to share before we start getting into the questions. I think what I'm gonna do, okay, good. I'm gonna just start with the questions because I want to make sure everybody gets their question answered if they want to ask one. So, Ashley or Mickey, do either one of you have a question? And if you don't, that's okay. I can go to the pre-submitted ones. And
I didn't come with any questions. I kind of just wanted to experience and
sure.
Yeah, if something, I might think of something later, probably. So
that's fine. Oh, and I just realized I want to turn on this light. And Ashley, same for you. If you want to just experience, that's great. Or if you want to ask your question, you can. Not that you
I
have one, but if you
was
do.
not ready either. But one that just came up, like I like what you wrote. I mean, what you said, what you want to tap into. So, like, how do I tap in more into my, like, I'm an artist. I love to draw, write, you know. So, like, how do I tap in? And I love nature, universe, like learning about it. So, how do I like tap into, you know, and like stay true to myself? Like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to put that question to, like, but yeah, like,
Yes. Yes. Oh, I think you put it great. So I'm going to see sometimes when I get one piece of information and I share it, and then there's more. So I'm going to share what I got first and then see what else there is. And I may have questions for you too. So immediately, one of the things I get is this picture of you either with your arm out, like pointing or acting or whatever. It feels like this, or speaking. And I get this sense of you kind of telling people what to do. And I don't know how comfortable you feel with doing things like that. And I don't know if your artwork in any ways involves like you being this arm out directing something going on. So that's the first thing I get. And I'm going to get calm and get quiet for two reasons. One, to see what else comes up next, and if there's anything of that that sparks something in you. Oh, okay. Sorry. One more thing. I have to recognize this may be creatively. I also get a sense there's maybe one or two people in your life that you need to tell them like it is. Like you've been holding back what you really want to say to them. And it almost feels like I don't see you like lashing out per se, but it feels like maybe telling them what to do or telling them how it is in a real clear and forceful way. All right, so I'm going to pause, give you a moment to reflect on that. If you want to share or clarify or anything, you can. And I'm going to see what else there is for me to share with you.
I do have a question regarding the visualizing. Is that
Oh, okay, I'll come back to you, Mickey.
okay?
Let me stay with Ashley and then we'll transition to you.
Okay.
Thank
should I be
you.
quiet?
Well, did anything that I said spark
Yes.
any ideas or
Yes.
questions or thoughts? Let's
So
hear it.
said telling people what to do. I'm a teaching artist via Zoom. I work with Crossing Point Arts for survivors. So so when you said that, I was like, oh, she good. You are good. They good. They good. So, and then been holding back on what I wanted to say. You kind of right with the job. I'm working with a nonprofit and I've been treated unfair. So yesterday, I kind of spoke up and said how I felt, you know. So you saying speak up and saying how it is, you know. I almost feel like crying, but I'm like holding it. No, stay strong. You got this. So
I
yeah.
feel like crying. I'm so glad you spoke up. And I feel like in more than just how you spoke up there, it feels like every time you speak up, if you could tell the people you work with or whatever other way you can share and get out and speak up and be like, I'm speaking up. It's uncomfortable. I want to cry. And if you're a survivor, this is your time to speak up. This is your time to say it's enough. This is your time to say, I'm leaving this and I don't know how I'm going to survive, but I'm not staying here anymore. That there's something about every time you speak up, and this makes me so emotional. I feel like every person who needs to get out of a situation and be a survivor, it gives them that feeling of she did it, I can do it. And oh my gosh. Okay, so you work with a nonprofit, and you work with other people too. Like, do you contract with different people? Is that how it works?
I work with a nonprofit. I'm a fellow at the nonprofit. I was a member and now I'm a fellow, but I'm looking for another job. But aside from that, I work with Crossing Point Arts, and they help me uh teaching arting workshops through Zoom with other organizations via Zoom. So yeah, I can say yeah, it's like a contract with them, you know,
Awesome.
get a stipend and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. I would love, here's the other thing I'm getting. I literally get you going up to them and saying, hey, I need some more workshops. I need you to put my name out more. I need you to, like, almost telling them, and I don't know if you get paid per workshop, but I hope you're like, if you had more workshops, that means you're getting paid more. I don't want you to do more work for the same pay. But I get this sense of some of these people, it's almost like if you could push them to remember, like, hey, give me more work, give me more workshops, give me more money. Or if they're at capacity, telling some of the people in there, can you please go submit my name to 2 other people you know who need what I have? It may be in another state, since you said it's on Zoom. Or I feel like, to me, what feels like a really first easy step is letting people who you're working with know that you have capacity for more, and that you want them to go, like, get those conversations and relationships started. I don't know if that feels out of your comfort zone. It may be, but it's one of those, to me, like speaking up and being like, hey, when's the last time you submitted my name for a proposal or a contract or whatever? Or, hey, do you know someone in the same organization in another state who could use this? Because what I feel is there are so many more of these people who you're serving who need you, and there's another organization who'd be ready to jump on that. Does that feel helpful?
Wow, you hit it on the nose, and I was taking all the notes. At this organization, I've been voicing my opinion about going to street outreach, to help girls, to give them, and they don't want me to do, like, they've been holding back, like this. So that's why I need to get myself out of this organization and go somewhere else where they respect me, value me, and
Yeah.
where I'll be able to flourish and really help people, because that's what I want to do.
I know.
Journey, and I want to help others heal and get out of it, especially women, to gain independence. But yeah, so people need me to, yeah, I'm like,
I love that.
to serve them. So I resonate with that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And if you're local to Greenville, and I don't know what kind of survivors you help, but I was just thinking, there's the Day Drinkers Coffee Shop. I could see you going in there. Not that it's a nonprofit, but like, maybe they want to have one of your art workshops for survivors. I know it's a close feeling for them, close to their heart. And yeah, there's people who need you so much. And I'm really glad that you're helping, because not everybody can do the work that you're doing. I'm going to move on, because I know Mickey has a question, and I think I have 4 questions pre-submitted. So we're going to keep moving. You'll get a replay of this. So if you want to listen back, and keep me posted all how that's going. Okay. I'm going to go back and forth. So Mickey, I'll come back to you. I'm going to get one of the questions here, that was pre-submitted. So this was from Becky in the Mountains, and I'll read what she put. So she said, change is hard, stagnation is harder. And she's wondering, is she on the right path? She says, am I on the right path? I've been in a comfortable bubble in the mountains for 4 years, and it finally burst. All good, just moving forward. And so she really wants to know, is she on the right path? And for anyone listening, like I said before, if there's anything that I share, even though this might not be your exact scenario, but it feels like, ooh, that message works for me, awesome. Take it, make it work for you. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is the first part of the message that I got for Becky. I don't know if it will apply for most of us, but maybe there's something in the feeling that you can connect with. So as soon as I got her pre-submitted question, I got the flash of an attractive surfer guy. I'm just laughing because I don't know why, but it cracks me up. And I'm not saying leave the mountains, go to the beach. There's some hot surfer guy, but hey, there probably is. And but more what it felt like that I really want to offer. And since Becky's not here, she can't really confirm if this is a real person that she has met already. But I got this sense of someone she met in her past at the beach who, whether or not he was a surfer, they just had this spark. And maybe it was more like he was one of those kind of beach vibes kind of people, go with the flow, whatever. And that wasn't, it feels almost like one of those, what do you call it, like misconnections of like it was something that felt like it could have been but it wasn't. And I get this feeling of, what if the it could have been but it wasn't is more possible now than it was before? And now, of course, if you have this person's info, like send out some feelers, reach out, see like, could that connection happen? And if you don't have this person's info, or you actually haven't met some hot surfer guy that you actually thought could maybe work, but you lived in the mountains and he lived at the beach, so it didn't work. What about that scenario does it bring up for you? Does it bring up, oh, that's not going to work, I'm too old, or I'm too set in my ways, or hot surfer guys never like me? Like, there's something about believing in the possibilities and that maybe now is the right time. And sometimes our bubbles get burst because it's time for like life to scoot us on down the road and be like, go on now. I recorded a video this week. I think I put it on Instagram and TikTok, all about how we were having a lot of trouble with my son this weekend with some behavior issues. And then when I was reflecting for a few minutes, I was like, oh, I'm not being a good enough mom. And then I was like, yeah, I don't really like that negative self-talk. That's not helpful for anyone. So once I let myself ruminate and dwell on it for a little bit, I'm like, okay, enough of that. And I thought, he's showing me he's not getting what he needs. And I signed him up for karate because we've been thinking about doing that. I've been thinking about doing that since like July, and I just hadn't done it. But him having this bad day made me be like, life is like scooting me on down the road. Like, come on, we're bursting your bubble. Everything is not fine. Time for a change. So for anyone listening and Becky in the mountains, your bubble bursts, scooting you on down the road. What is that thing? Since you're already a little bit uncomfortable, could you also let yourself believe and settle in with and connect to an uncomfortable feeling or thought that would actually be really good for you? Like, hey, what if it's more probable that some attractive surfer guy or girl, if you're into girls or non-binary, would be into you? What if instead of feeling like you never get the person you want or the job you want or the home you want, what if you actually let yourself watch the romantic movie and believe that that's possible for you? That's I think what some of this new stage you're in is like. What if you let yourself dream the things that you never let yourself dream before? Because when the bubble is burst and you're having a fresh start, you're already uncomfortable. Sometimes it's like, we'll play around with a new uncomfortable thought that you could have whatever you wanted, or you could have the hottest partner that you ever wanted. And that's as much available for you as it is for anybody. Okay, I think that's Becky's message, and anyone else who it works for. May we all be with the people who are as hot as we can handle. All right. Mickey, do you have a question for us? You said you did.
Yeah, sorry, earlier I was like, just misunderstood that it was like an open-ended. But anyway,
Totally.
basically, it's a very general question. I'm just now
That's
starting
fine.
the becoming supernatural, and so thinking about visualization, and I was like,
Mm,
how specific do I need to be whenever it says like, think of this state that you want to be in, and
mhm.
like how it feels to be in that state. And I'm like, so am I thinking overall? And then it's like, so imagine what it's like to be in there. And I'm like, okay, happy because everything will be going right. Or do I think like individually, like I will be happy because I'll have a butt warmer in my car, and thinking about that. And then at another time, I will also visualize this is what it's like to be in better shape, or, feel committed to self-care, or whatever. Like, I guess how
Ye-
specific, and obviously there's probably a range of what I need
Yes.
done, but yeah.
Yes, that question, that's such a great question. So thank you so much for asking. So I have a general answer for all of us, and then I have a specific answer for you. I'll start with the general. And I'm got trained in a manifesting method and visualization method from Mike Dooley. That's this infinite possibility. So I'm a certified trainer in that. And in that line of thought, how we talk about it is, I think it's really helpful to get specific if that helps you visualize it in a way where it feels really real. And it feels like when you think of it, it gives you almost that zing or that rush of energy, or like if you're visualizing a smell or a taste, you almost feel like your mouth is salivating. If by focusing on super detailed things like a butt warmer or a seat warmer. So for me, I actually do want a different car. And my husband's car has seat warmers. And so for me, I get specific on I would like some seat warmers too. And probably also like a Bluetooth is non-negotiable for me. I don't know if Sirius radio is anyway, I may not care, but it does excite me. So when I think about it, I tune into that. Those parts make me kind of giggly excited about it. What the car looks like, other than I really like the color blue, I don't care. I don't care about brands or any of that. So for me, the part I don't care about, I don't even think about. And so that's an example there for you of, you may just explore for the next few weeks, are there parts of it that make you feel heightened emotion or excitement? And if so, great, get into the details. Heightened positive emotion. But there's about somewhere between 5 to 10% of the population, they can't even visualize in pictures at all. Like it's almost like they just don't even know how. And that's okay. Like they can still visualize, as we'll call it, but then it might be more the feeling for them. And sometimes I don't have a specific thing I'm thinking of. I just want to listen to a song and feel good and just let that feeling wash over my body. And I feel like, okay, that's good enough. So you can both experiment with what you notice seems to make you feel the best, and at different times of the day or different times of the month or your week, you may want to go more detailed or less detailed. Now, when you were asking your question, I just saw this whole thing of like making cookies, and I was thinking, how in the world does this even relate? But what I was picturing is, with the holiday season, we might see like gingerbread cutouts. And I'm thinking, okay, some people, when they make cookies with the gingerbread cutout of a little person, a gingerbread man or a gingerbread girl, or a house or a star or a heart or a snowflake, they just cut out the shape and that's it. And then other people, they add a dusting of white sugar dust. And then there are the people who do the icing. And yeah, so what I'm getting the sense of is two things. One, you could literally make cookies and think about this while you make your cookies and be like, I'm manifesting with these cookies. Every time I eat a cookie, I'm feeling excited. And that's my visualizing. I make the cookie and think about it, and then eat the cookies for the next week and think about it. So you could go that literal, or you could think, if you were making cookies, what's your cookie making style, and apply that to the visualizing and see what are the similarities there. Yeah, and what they're showing me, so I know that you like painting. You would maybe be one of those people who you make this gingerbread cookie that's almost like a mini painting, and people say, how could you eat that? It's so beautiful. But if that's what makes you feel really joyful and you're so immersed in it, that really engages this heightened state of energy that attracts the things you like to you, and it gets you in flow. So you might be somebody that you want it highly detailed, or maybe you want to create a painting. Instead of visualizing it in your mind, you actually create something physical that is the representation of it to see every day. How does that feel? Does that give you something to work with, do you think?
I think so. I think it gives me a clearer, more focused way to visualize, and also not make me feel where I'm constantly thinking, am I doing it right? 'Cause
Right.
that's probably
Yes.
a constant thing with me, is I always second guess myself. So it
Yes.
feels I'm on a right path. Thank you.
I know what you mean. And I don't think you can do it wrong. Yeah. So just if you start worrying about, am I doing it right? You could just be like, come on. It's like, can you walk your dog right? Like, as long as the walk happens, you're fine. Is there a right way to make cookies? I mean, actually, the old me used to think that. Before I made cookies with my kids, I was like, this is how we make cookies. And then I made cookies with my daughter and her friend when they were like 2. It was so messy. I hardly enjoyed myself. And I was like, oh, sometimes this is what making cookies is like. It's a total mess, and it's kind of crazy. And the kids are throwing flour everywhere, but we still had cookies at the end. So there's no wrong way to do it. It's just, what do you like? And I've discovered I do not like making cookies with my kid from scratch when they're a toddler. And that's okay. Okay. Hi, Patty Lee. I'm going to take a pre-submitted question, and then if you have a question or a scenario to look into, I'll come to you. All right. So, okay. This comes from Lily Amelia in Greenville. So I will read to you what she shared, and then I'll tune into the guidance for her. So she is looking for insight related to some business and financial arrangement. She has had what feels like numerous experiences of trusting the wrong people, keep trying to do the right thing or to do good. She has really honest intentions. And I can feel, she didn't say it exactly this way, but it's like, this part she did say, she's like, she has this feeling of, oh, the rising tide lifts all boats, and doing collaborations, and it's going to help us all to be better and have a better life. That's her intention. The frustration is, even though she keeps on trying to do that, she not only is not getting the rising tide lifting all boats, what has happened is, she says, people with more power stomp on me, abandon me after saying they'll help. She keeps getting screwed over. Folks create a group with her, steal her idea, kick her out of the group. Anyway, so there's a lot, she's feeling a lot of, and this part she didn't say, I'm just feeling into anger, frustration. Also, it's this confusion of, I'm doing the right thing, but I keep on getting like shit results, pretty much. Sorry if that word bothers you, but that's how bad it feels. Okay. So I'm going to take a few deep breaths here, because one, I'd never like to rush into, it's like if somebody just told you all the problems and then you start rushing in with an answer, doesn't really give space for them to just feel seen and for all of it to kind of sink in for the rest of us. And there's a little bit of this like vomit out all the terrible stuff that's happened. And also, like I said, this like fist in the air of like, how could this happen to me when I was trying so much and I just want to help people, and again, like it's heartbreaking. So any one of us who are here with you, Lily, Amelia, like first we just want you to know that we hear what you've gone through, and that does feel really bad. Sorry if it feels like you want to cry. So first we're just being here with all of the emotions that come up with that. And one of the things that I'll say is, you may also, after you listen to this, you may want to decide you're going to give yourself a period of time where in the evening you wrap a blanket around yourself and sit in a cozy, comforting spot where you feel like the couch is hugging you, and you take a minute or two to just cry about this and feel sad about it. And if you want to say, feel sorry about it, and like let your heart break over this. And just letting yourself know that it's okay to cry and feel the emotions and feel the disappointment. But I'm getting the sense of like letting it out, letting it flow. And even just you being willing for us all to hear this and be receptive to that is really, really helpful. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, and this is where I'm going to come in a little bit strong and assertive and kind of tell you how it is, which is I feel, to use some biblical phrases, and I've done this, so there's no judgment, but it feels like one of those, you're throwing your pearls before swine. And yeah, we're going to call those people swine. I mean, I love everybody, but I'm not going to throw my pearls before the swine. And I'm not judging those people, but their behaviors, and I'm not judging you either for like, how did you not know they were swine? Because sometimes we don't know. It's totally true of like, how do we not know? So, and I'm pausing to just let you know that I think it's like two more parts to this next thing I'm going to say, because I know that don't throw your pearls before swine. Okay. Yeah, I feel like your spirit guides, whoever you believe in, your higher self, all that, there was something of, it's almost like you had to live it to learn it. That's what they're showing me. And some people are not worthy of collaborating with you is the fact of the matter. And it may be, and I've had to do this myself personally, because I think I had an innocence of, oh, if I just show up with a good heart and good intention and keep on doing good things, I will always have good results. And like karma, like I'm putting out good things and good things are just going to come back to me. And then having people who, stomped all over me. And it feels that you're such a powerful person and you do have really great ideas. And I have the sense of, for the next maybe 1 to 3 years, it's not about collaboration for you. It's about you doing it your way on your terms with, your money, and you call the shots. And collaboration sounds nice, but those people cannot meet you at your level. And you may decide at the end of 2 or 3 years after you've been doing your own thing, collaboration sounds nice, but it's not for me. I have a collaboration I'm going to do this month, and it's a little bit of an experimentation, because sometimes when I do collaborations, I'm very disappointed, and then I'll take 6 months or a year and do no more, because I'm like, no, I'm just done. Even though in my heart, I also would like to do Rising Tide Lifts All Boats. And at some point you may find, okay, certain kinds of collaborations work, other kinds don't. But it feels to be in a very much a self-preservation mode of, those people don't get access to you. They don't get access to your great ideas. They don't get access to your power. Some of them misunderstood your good intentions for weakness. And I think unconsciously, it's like they knew, I don't know if knew is the best way to put it. It's like they took advantage of you, thinking that you were weak. And also, I think they knew you were not going to be as nasty as they would be, and that they could just continue taking and leave you in the dust and be like, whatever. I think some of them, it's like, not that they showed you, but they had no bad feelings about screwing you over, which, now we know, but I feel like they never meant what they were going to do. I don't know if they always knew they were going to screw you over, but it feels like they just don't even know how to operate at the level of integrity that you do. Whew. So having said that, if you're clearing out the swine, get out of here, swine. And you're the one adorning yourself in the pearls. You're the one being like, I am the queen. I am the power. I'm the one with the good ideas. I run the show. I have staff. I don't have collaborators, or maybe you don't have staff at some point, but I get the sense of, at the level that you want to work, both intelligence or ethics, or like your ability to do the work, there's a very small percentage of people who could be in partnership with you because of the caliber that you have and the caliber that they bring. And I'm not trying to down talk people, but for who you are and what you want to do, I was getting this sense when I was writing your question down before our time together, of like, you could probably trust 1 in 10 people that you meet in your life, or that you pass by in your day. And in your heart, you may want to trust 90%. I feel, even though I try to love everyone, love doesn't mean everybody gets access to me. There's very few people who get access to what feels like the parts of me that I want to protect and have boundaries over. And so you can still have philanthropic ventures, or Rising Tide Lifts All Boats, but it doesn't mean you have to work with other people, because there, as I said, there's like a 10% of people who you could work with at that level. The rest of them are just not going to be able to work with you. They don't have the integrity. They don't have the capability. They're going to go more to what I would call their baser selves, where it's like they do shitty things. They screw people over, and they're like, this is $1 million idea we just got from her. Whoa, let's take this and run with it. Then we don't have to share with her. It makes me think of, like, I haven't seen too many of these, but those heist movies where not that you're putting on a heist, but it's like everybody works together, and then at the end, certain people try and like run away with the fortune and screw everybody else over, even though they acted like it was a group thing from the beginning. Yeah. So I hope that's helpful. And there's a few pieces there, so you may want to re-listen to this more than once. Okay, shifting gears. Okay, what's her name again? Patty Lee. Do you have a question? I have another submitted question, but if you have one, I want to get to you next since you're here. And if you don't have one, that's okay too.
I do, and I apologize for not submitting it in advance. My life went into a blender the last couple of days. So
Oh my goodness. Do you need a straw for that smoothie that your life has become?
it would be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm retired. I'm in my 70s.
Mm.
I'm ready to do what I want to do. I'm relatively healthy, don't have any major illnesses or anything. So I'm assuming I can live another 30 or 40 years. So why not? Right.
Yeah.
And I have some gifts. And actually, I'm having difficulty figuring out what my offer is to serve humanity.
Yeah.
And things are coming up, but I've never allowed myself to choose things like this. So my chooser is like 6 months old, and I'm looking for an opportunity to look at it from a different point of view, or how can I get there? How do I get the information? I had something surface 2 days ago from, I don't know, 12 or 15 years ago when I was working with John Waterhouse up in Asheville.
Yeah.
And that information came up again. And I thought, whoa, is my team talking to me about doing that working from that perspective, or what, I'm just here wondering what you pick up.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Before you said John Waterhouse, I was getting almost this sense of like this dashing man. And then I was feeling like Rhett Butler and Gone with the Wind. And I don't know if that's the feeling you get from John Waterhouse, or how you feel about Rhett Butler. But so that's one thing that I get. But let me share a few of the other things. So they're giving me this, and this may be about your gifts. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe who had so many children she didn't know what to do. And it's almost like, wait, what do you do with all these things? And they're also, I get this picture of you, which kind of cracks me up, of like in a chair with maybe like a blanket over your legs, and then all these children sitting on the floor around you, listening to like storytelling. Okay, I'm going to see what else there is, because I don't know that this is literal. But then when you said your chooser's 6 months old, then I was wondering, is that why I'm seeing all these children and getting that nursery rhyme? So they're showing me an egg and you with a little chisel thing and a hammer. And they're like, listen, this is not an egg you have to crack. Also, we wouldn't want to crack that egg with a hammer. Not that I think you're coming on too strongly, but I'm getting that. And then it's like, it's a gift you get to open, or like, oh gosh, it's like the water's beginning to flow, but not to create a flood, but like when the snow melts in places where there's like snow building up all winter and then it melts. It's like if it melts slowly, that's better than when it melts all at once and there's a rush and then there's a flood. So what I'm sensing for that, what I'm feeling for that is, what if, do you have the liberty to have some time to start exploring some of these things in a very, I almost want to say like casual, loose way of just observing what happens as you're exploring? Or do you feel like, well, I really need to know because cash flow would be good and I need to know in like 3 months or less?
Cash flow would be excellent,
Okay, good.
but I
Good
don't
to
want to
know.
waste my time doing something that doesn't make my soul happy.
Yes, right.
So I've been retired for 2.5 years, and
Mhm.
I spent most of that time sleeping and meditating to get rid of the accountant, the fundraiser, the customer service rep, all the things that I did
Yeah.
to earn a living. Social Security's like pennies.
Yeah.
But I'm really now super ready to say, okay, universe, here I am. I had an I had a near-death experience. I can't
Yes,
remember letters.
right.
Back in
NDE, is that what
2011,
it is?
and I got to choose, do I want to leave? Do I want to come back? And I said, well, if I can fulfill my destiny, I'll come back. They said, okay, here I was. But the thing is I didn't ask, what is my destiny, please?
Yeah, right. That would have been handy. I'm like, did they send you back with an instruction manual?
Right. So here I am with that same question, because I got over that. I survived that. I survived the chemo. I survived all of that. Built my
Mhm.
strength back up, got my health better. And so now here I am, and it's like, okay, guys, what's next? And they said, well, you finished all your contracts. You get to choose. And it's like, fuck, I don't know how to choose. So here I am.
Um,
Here I am talking
well,
to you.
yeah, I love it. I'm so glad. And when I said about the storytelling to all these kids around you, what occurred to you? Did that spark anything?
Well, the old woman in the shoe, rhyme made me feel like that was me, and all those children were things that I could do.
Yes.
Right. And then when you talked about the telling the story to children, it was like, there's people out there. There's people out there living the zombie life, and they need that mommy to come along and say, I love you. You're okay. Here's how you find your true self again. And I'm here to help you do that. And so that's like all I got. And that's really my goal, is to, when COVID came along, I thought, oh my God, people in the new age community, people in the manifesting and law of attraction community, people that thought change comes just like floating on a boat down the river.
Right.
And they forget that there's like 12 waterfalls you have to go through before you get to the other part.
Right.
They got completely blown away by what happened on 9/11, COVID, all of
Mhm.
the upheaval. They forgot that there's birth pains
Oh, yeah.
for the creation of what's coming. And so they lost themselves.
Mhm.
And I really feel strongly that my what I'm supposed to be doing somehow or another is being a guide for their souls so they can recover themselves.
Yeah.
So our community, the people that we know that are lost and living the zombie life, can recover themselves and remember that we're here to elevate the planet and to elevate humanity and to ascend to a different type of situation. And we still have a lot of years left before that's going to happen. And people thought it was going to happen in a short amount of time. And it is
Yeah.
it's a longer work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was seeing when you were talking about me sitting and there was children around me.
Yes, I love that. And I was thinking the other day, because I have small kids, and I was thinking, when people are growing up left and right, you can do anything. What do you want to be? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and when you're adult, it's like suddenly everybody stops saying that. Or I might say it, or some motivational person might say it, but it's like, who has that like motherly influence who's like asking you to sit down and be like, what do you actually want to do with your life? It's not being a zombie. And so that to me sounds really amazing. It was making me very emotional. So I know it's true that there's people who need that. Okay, one logistical thing I want to say. Yes, exactly. Maybe you and Ashley should connect, because she's speaking to people and she's telling them like it is. And because I think some of what you're going to be doing is a speaking out, is a storytelling. And maybe you and her have some ideas about speaking out together. Obviously you two have to decide if you want to do that, but that's one thing I think. Also, yeah, everything you said was great. So when you get the recording, you might even want to like look down and write it down and be like, is this my thing? Like, just start telling people, hey, do you know anybody who feels like they're a zombie in their life? I'm the person who helps them. I know that sounds silly, and yet I feel like there's one or two people, if I don't know them personally, like they're probably married to somebody who I know, and it's like, I'm sure there are people who feel like they're a walking zombie, but they don't want to be that. So I almost feel like you maybe already have your answer or the beginnings of it, and it's just, how does it become? I think you're so clear, and you spent so many years doing kind of what you had to do or what others wanted you to do, that I do have a sense of, if you start going down a path that doesn't feel right for you, you're going to know so quickly. You're going to be like, this is not the way that I'm supposed to help those zombies turn into butterflies. Course correct. I feel like you're so like solid in who you are and your vision, that just to let yourself know, like, don't worry about if it's the wrong path. You'll know. But yeah, sometimes we have to start something and you get into it, and then a week or two or a month into it, you're like, yeah, this wasn't the best. And then you just get out of it. So, don't marry anybody or make any long-term legal contracts if you don't know. But it's like, aside from that, I'd say like start going with what feels good and then course correct. I am curious, do you have any feelings about people who are of the Rhett Butler type of vibe, and who knows, maybe it's that in that movie, it's like that woman, and I know, obviously there's problematic things with the whole Gone with the Wind movie, but also there's the story of a woman like starting over again and believing in herself and all that, like that as when I watched it as a kid, that's what I connected with. I don't know if there's anything from that, either that character of Rhett Butler or that feeling of like that dashing, handsome possibility, but is there anything that sparked for you when I said that?
No, I mean, I can't think of anything. If we were talking about John Waterhouse, I really appreciated him because he trained with a real Native American
Mm,
master
mm,
for many years. And so his knowledge of the natural realm and the behind the scenes natural realm that we can't
Oh,
see was
yeah.
incredible, incredible. And he could see through your physical person into who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I know he was friends with Michael Beckwith for a lot of years, probably still is.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has that, he has a lot of training in that area, which I never availed myself of and would have loved to have been able to do that when I was younger. And the money situation is nice because that's what I want to do with the money
Yeah.
is open up more gifts that I have, and I've got them. I need the checklist on this is how this is you do this. It's like I don't have any framework.
Right.
And
And
so,
and John Waterhouse, there's an opportunity for you to work with them, is that right?
no,
Oh, to learn from them.
no, Barbara passed away and John, I think, has either moved to Florida or California. No,
Mm.
Colorado. I don't know where he is or anything about what he's doing. But at the time, I don't know if you know them. They were
Mm-mm.
pastors of spiritual Center for Spiritual Living in Asheville.
Oh, I went there a few times. Okay, so I probably saw them then.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
names
so
were
John,
familiar.
yeah, and so they retired. Barbara had become seriously ill and they retired.
Mm.
And like a month after they retired, she passed away. So,
Oh, wow.
but I don't think I would want to work with him anyway, because he doesn't jive in the same places where I do. I
Yeah.
really use my psychic ability a lot differently than he uses his.
Mm-hmm.
But that one particular class was really important to me. Are you familiar with the word psychopomp?
No.
Psychopomp is a Greek word. It's for someone that can do one of two things. They either lead the spirit of people who have left their body and they're lost and
Oh,
take
right.
them to where they're going, like across the river Styx,
Yeah, yeah.
or someone that's zombieized in their life,
Yeah.
you help lead their soul out of that zombie state into their enlightenment, their radiance, so that
Mm-hmm.
they can move out of that crappy place.
Yeah.
So that's what the word means. And so that's what I got when I worked with him, is that was part of what I was supposed to do. And then there's a medium down in Florida that I use occasionally. And he was telling me that he felt like I would be working with people that were spiritually traumatized, which is kind of the same thing as,
Yes.
I mean, and I use the word zombie just because it's a common word and everybody kind of knows what that means.
Right, right.
But people get in a dark place and then they are even afraid to leave it.
Yeah.
And
It's so true.
they're just putting one foot in front of the other and trying to check off all their boxes, and they have no joy. And I understand that because I was there, during times in my life, and I don't want anybody that I'm supposed to serve to stay there.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Smiling because and some of the time what I share might just spark it's the kind of like creative brainstorming. I share something and you take it and make it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving me this whole workshop or whatever talk or story that's called De-Zombify Your Life. And
Oh, I like that.
yeah, me too. And I feel like there's people who could be like, yeah, and I am feeling like a zombie, and maybe we shouldn't be a zombie anymore. And I it definitely feels like even just using that and starting to get out there and having people connect with you, because as you say, there's a lot of people who, for various reasons, feel like part of them is stuck, or they need to move through something, or spiritual trauma, all that. I get this picture of like, they almost feel like, what is that? Like you're in a straitjacket, or you're locked in a room. You don't know that the straitjacket isn't actually still all twisted up. Like you could actually be free, but you've been tight for so long, you don't know how to loosen your muscles, loosen to try the next thing, to take the first step. So, yeah, I think talking, however you feel like you want to work with people, maybe just starting to talk around and be like, hey, who do you know that feels like they're a zombie that I could help them? Or give a workshop maybe called that. I know, okay, Ashley, hold on. Ashley put her email, is that right? And y'all two should definitely connect to see, or no, Patty, you're giving Ashley your email. Y'all two should try and see what else you can come up with, the two of you brainstorming. So I think that would be great. And
Well, now, so I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
yes.
Are you saying that you feel like this is the path? There's not anything in the way. There's not anybody going, oops, she's going in the wrong direction. We need to move her. You don't get any of that.
No, no. So for one, I would have told you if I did. And two, I get the sense of, kind of like I said before, if you start to go down something, you start to explore something and it feels like, hey, I'm on the wrong path, you're going to course correct. You're going to know. But I also feel, this is the thing I got from Mike Dooley, who I trained with. It's like, you can't drive a parked car. So if your car made the wrong turn and you're already driving, oh, okay, I've missed the turn. I'll just turn again. Or I thought this road would be nice, but it's got terrible scenery. So you make a different turn. But if your car's not moving, you can't be taking any directions. So
That's
it's like,
yeah, I haven't started
yeah,
the car yet, I guess.
yeah, that's what I think. So like, get the car out of the garage, and maybe that, and hey, today you got the car out of the garage. You told all of us what's up. And so that's good. And you have, oh, maybe it's going to be a De-Zombify Your Life workshop, or a talk or something. And you might want to see how you have to, oh, thank you, Ashley, how it works best for you to be getting out there in a way that feels good to you. But I think it feels to me like the gifts that you have are needed, and it's simply a matter of starting to get out there and let people know what, like, how you can help them and all that. Good. And Ashley's going to connect with you, so that's awesome. And hey, if anybody tells me in the next week they feel like a zombie, I know who I'm going to send them to. So that's good. Because yeah. And let's see if there's anything else. I know Ashley's heading out in a minute. Everybody who's here, I have one more person I'm going to answer their pre-submitted question, but everybody who's here, when I send out the replay, I'll send, if you want to sign up for a package of sessions, I'm going to do a 10% discount for anybody who was here with us or who pre-submitted a question. So I'll send you that link if that interests you. And if anybody just wants to do a one-time session with me, that's also a possibility. Okay, so I had a pre-submitted question from he didn't actually tell me if I could use his name or not, but he has had some stuff happening. It was either with his knee or his leg. So I'm just gonna call him Hobbling Along Harry as his code play name. So he's had health issues compounding. He wants to know about his physical health and his healing. And I'm tuning into for Hobbling Along Harry, but like I said, for everybody who wants to listen and feel, if there's something that'll be applicable for you, you'll know it, you'll feel it within, and you can take this and apply it for you. So I don't think, I feel like he had physical things that happened with his legs, but they're showing me a broken arm and a broken heart. And it feels like this physical ailment that happened that needed surgery feels like it was from a very disappointing broken heart kind of situation of the past. And I don't necessarily mean, I don't know if it was a love situation. It feels like it was something in your life that broke your heart. And for whatever reason, it kind of felt like there was a long delay from when this event happened to when the physical things you're having now. Okay. So two things I'm getting from this. If there was a time in your life where you broke your arm, that was like the first time of your body trying to move through this emotion, move through it. And this is the second time of it. So if you've had a broken arm, this is kind of like a nod to that time. If you didn't have a broken arm, then I'm going to wait and see if I get more information about why I'm seeing this broken arm. Getting is if the symbolic or spiritual or metaphorical meaning is like you felt like your ability to reach out was broken, your ability to receive was broken, your ability to ask for help felt broken. And yeah, and there may have even been a time in your life where you felt like that broken winged bird that was just hopping along with the broken wing and all like to me that feels also kind of like a late teenage years time period, if there is a time period that goes along with that. So that's me sharing about the scenario as it is. I'm looking to see now, what can we see, what can we know for you that would be helpful? That is what you can do to support your healing, what you can do to help your health. It feels like there's something that you need to hear, not necessarily from me. I feel like your heart is aching to hear something from a certain person. It almost gives me this sense of, and I'm just going to extrapolate here. I don't know if any of these are going to be the literal things, but what it feels like is this instance of like, oh, if only my dad would have told me he was proud of me, or if only my mom would have said she was sorry for that one time she sent me away to, I don't know, that camp I didn't want to go to, or the private school I didn't want to go to. It feels that there's this longing for the person who either wronged you or did something that really hurt you or made you feel a certain way, that they would say those words to you that just give you peace in your heart. And so one of the things I'm getting is, could you visualize them saying it? I'm getting a whole chorus saying it, saying the words that you need to hear. Because whether or not that person has ever said the words you need to hear, the words you're longing to hear, you need to hear them, and you need to hear them again, and you need to hear them with a whole chorus. And the words could be, I love you. The words could be, I'm sorry. The words could be, you're amazing. You're okay. If I don't hit upon the right word, when you listen to the replay, you can be like, give me another idea. I don't know the words, Rachel. But I feel like if you sit with it and ask yourself, like, what are those words that I really wish I could hear? Like, what are the words that when you were in that broken wing stage that you just wish you could have heard? Was it, it's going to be okay? Was it, you're special and amazing? Was it, you know, I'm sorry, I can't protect you from the world or this thing that hurt you? Whatever that feeling is, if there's a way to put it into words, and then picturing that there's a whole chorus of your spirit guides, loved ones, friends, all of these supporting you. And we're all like singing the words to you, saying the words to you, that you're literally just feeling it like a triumphant wall of sound filling you up. And there may be a part of you, the logical part or the ego part, that's like, well, I don't really need to hear those words. You do, actually. I'm just going to say you do. And if there's a part of you that's like, well, I don't really know, or I've heard those words before. If it's that you're loved and you're amazing, you need to hear those words. As I said, a whole chorus, a whole group of us, we're all saying it, we're all singing it. It's okay to ask for this. It's okay to hear it. If you need more than just visualizing hearing it, you might want to go see, like, could you create a recording so that you can hear it? Could you find a meditation or a affirmations track on YouTube that has it? I don't know. Is there a song that has it? Do you write a song that has it? Do you ask 5 people who love you to record themselves saying this, and then you put it together? You know, you take it how you want to take it in terms of creating the experience of you feeling this. But you are worthy of experiencing this. You are worthy of feeling that deep feeling that you long for. And it feels like that. I mean, you know that sound has power. You know that sound healing helps. You know that all of that is incredible and dynamic and amazing. Yeah. And as I'm saying this, I feel the part of you that's like, oh yeah. And it feels like relief and healing flowing through your body, knowing like, I can use these tools to help. And, you know, it's not like we're trying to say, oh, you'll do a sound healing and you'll go to the doctor and they're like, you don't need surgery anymore. It's a miracle healing. I'm mocking a little bit because there's a part of you that's like, well, that's not going to happen, so why should I bother? But whether or not you have a miracle healing at a deep energetic soul level, this is what you need for the healing. And that will really help, so that it's like, that's your baseline. And then everything the doctors or the surgeons or the therapists or the whoever do to work with your physical body after that will support it. It will let you take it in, because at a very deep level, you've taken in the healing that you need. And everyone who's here is sending you the words and the love and the energy of all that you need. So we're wishing for the best for you. Thank you, Patty, for staying. Right. I'm going to wrap us up. This was such a wonderful delight. And I haven't set the date for when I'm doing this in January. And this is going to be a monthly thing. So feel free to come back. Feel free to tell people that you know and love. And like I said, I'll send the zombies to you. And to everyone listening for the replay, thank you so much. Sending you all the rooted, grounded joy and pleasure, healing and nourishment. And trusting that you're on the right path. It's okay to ask for what you need. It's okay to have boundaries. And you know, you can love people, but it doesn't mean you have to trust them. That's perfectly fine. All right. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everyone.